Can I ask you something? What do you want to be when you grow up? That's probably the most common question adults ask kids. But I think we've been asking it the wrong way. Maybe the better question is, who do you want to become? Welcome to Careers IRL. I'm Loxley Browne, and every Sunday evening we're going to be exploring one of the most exciting adventures you'll ever take, discovering the work you were made to do. You know, I grew up in a very different world than most kids are growing up in today. Yeah. I'm Gen X. I was one of those kids who grew up before computers were part of everyday life, before smartphones, before YouTube and Google, before social media. Thank goodness. Before everybody carried a screen around in their pocket. If I told my mom I was bored, she had a pretty simple answer. Well, go outside. And that's exactly what I did. I was outside from the time the sun came up until someone hollered from the front porch that it was time for me to come home. Lucky me, grew up on a horse farm, so there was always something to do. I was climbing trees and falling out of them, riding my horse, building forts, catching frogs, building bridges across the creek, mucking the stalls, making up adventures, and using my imagination. I didn't need an app to entertain me because I had the whole outdoors to explore. Television was not something that filled my day, it was something earned. And every Sunday evening before another week of school and chores began, we had a tradition. We would gather in the living room to watch The Wonderful World of Disney. Now, if you're a kid watching this, that might sound a little bit strange. You're thinking, wait, you only got to watch TV one night a week? Yeah, yeah. And you know what? That made it special. It wasn't really about whatever movie happened to be on that night. It was about being there, out in the living room, maybe eating a snack, laughing at the funny parts, talking about the story afterward, and then getting ready for another week. You know, looking back, I honestly don't remember every Disney movie watched, with the exception of Robin Hood. But I remember exactly how that Sunday night felt for me. And that's exactly the feeling I want to recreate with Careers IRL. I want this to become your Sunday evening tradition, a chance to put the phone down for a little while, kick back on the couch, be curious, ask questions, laugh, dream about your future, and spend a little time exploring all the incredible things you could become. Because here's what I do know: one conversation can spark a dream. One story can introduce you to a career you've never heard of. And one Sunday evening might just change the direction of your life. With Careers IRL, I wanted to recreate that feeling. Not another show to scroll through, but something you could actually watch together. So every Sunday, we'll meet incredible people. We'll hear their stories. We'll discover careers. We'll ask questions. We'll laugh. We'll get inspired. And just think, if you could spend 1 hour talking to an astronaut or a race car designer or a Navy pilot or an FBI agent, what would you ask them? Because that's exactly what I'm going to do. You know, every adult was once a kid. Every engineer, every designer, every doctor, every entrepreneur. Nobody woke up successful. They built skills. They got curious, made mistakes, discovered hobbies, and explored. Every episode is going to ask three big questions. What were you like as a kid? How did those interests become your career? And what advice would you give a kid today? This is the conversation these adults rarely get asked, but that you need the answer to so that you can follow in their footsteps. One of my favorite weeks every year is when I get to spend time with the girls at Tech Trek Camp. And this summer, the location was Florida. I asked each of them a simple question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Yep, that question. Now, you'd probably expect to hear the usual answers. Yeah, doctor, uh, marine biologist, astronautical engineers, graphic designers, psychologists, architects, software engineers, finance professionals, and one of my favorites, one young girl even wanted to become a professional barrel racer. And I absolutely love that answer because it reminded all of us that there isn't just one definition of success. You know, plus I grew up on a horse farm. I get what she's aiming to achieve. But here's what really caught my attention. After we talked about their dream careers, I had them do a career exploration activity. Instead of focusing on just one job, they explored careers across 6 different areas: science, technology, research, engineering, art, and math, or what I call STREAM. Something amazing happened. The girls who came in saying, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," suddenly realized they also thought engineering sounded pretty exciting. Future authors discovered they were fascinated by research. Girls who wanted to become astronauts found themselves interested in art and design. When we looked at everyone's worksheets together, their interests were spread across all 6 stream categories. Science and art generated especially strong curiosity, but every category sparked new ideas. And that's exactly the point. Career exploration isn't about locking yourself into one box when you're 12 years old. It's about giving yourself permission to be curious, to explore, to say, well, I never thought about that before. Because your first dream doesn't have to be your last dream. In fact, I hope it isn't. Now, I'd love for you to do the same activity that we did at camp. So head over to booksthatbuildskills.org and download the free career exploration worksheet. Print it out, grab a pencil, and as you watch each episode of Careers IRL, keep adding to it. Write down careers that sound interesting, circle the ones that surprise you, jot down skills you want to learn, and don't worry about getting the right answer because there isn't one. This is not a test, it's an adventure. And by the end of the year, you'll have your own personalized career journal, a record of all the possibilities you've explored, and maybe even a few careers you never knew existed. Because that's what we're doing here. We're not trying to decide what you're going to be for the rest of your life. We're simply opening doors, one conversation at a time. Now, can I share something that genuinely worries me? Right now, only 1 out of every 3 kids is reading at grade level. So just let that sink in. Think about that for a second. That means that every 2 out of every 3 kids are already falling behind before they even get a chance to chase their dreams. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter whether you want to become a doctor, an engineer, a pilot, a veterinarian, a business owner, a graphic designer, or even a professional barrel racer. Every single one of those careers depends on the same foundation. You have to be able to read and you have to understand what you're reading. You have to communicate your ideas, you have to solve problems, and you have to keep learning your entire life. Reading isn't just another subject that you take in school, it's the skill that unlocks every other skill. And that's exactly the reason why I created Books That Build Skills and why I wrote the Terms book series. Through our 501(c)(3) nonprofit, everything we do is built around one simple idea: stories can change lives. Each book takes you on a mystery filled adventure, but when you finish the last chapter, the adventure isn't over. Every book teaches one important life skill. Every book introduces you to real careers. Every book includes hands on projects that you can actually complete. And every book has a recipe that's inspired by the story. And every book ends with discussion questions so that you can sit around the dinner table while you're eating this lovely dinner that you just made because of the recipe in the book. And you can talk about what you've learned together because the best stories don't end when you close the book. They become launch pads, launch pads for conversation, launch pads for confidence, launch pads for discovering who you might become someday. Here's where your adventure begins. Book one is Bracket City Love, and it's all about communication, learning how to share your ideas, work with others, find your voice. Book two, TikTok Take Charge, teaches time management because learning how to manage your time is one of the greatest superpowers you'll ever have. Book three, Where Clues Take Root, focuses on project management, showing you how to break down a big goal into smaller steps and actually get things done. Book four, Blueprints and Buried Truths, is all about code breaking and critical thinking, teaching you how to look for patterns, solve puzzles, and think like a detective. Book five, Calculated Risk, explores travel planning and preparation because every great adventure starts with a plan. Book six, The Gravity of Choice, teaches how to pitch a business idea, helping you learn how to communicate your vision and inspire other people to believe in it. And book seven, Legacy Protocol, focuses on life planning and legacy, encouraging you to think beyond what you want to do and start thinking about the kind of person you want to become and the impact that you want to leave on the world. Now, you might notice something. None of those life skills belong to just one career. Communication helps everyone. Time management helps everyone. Project management helps, yeah, everyone. Uh, Critical thinking helps everyone. Planning, learning how to share your ideas. Yeah, and thinking about your future. Well, that's something every one of us should spend a little time doing. And that's why these books are called books that build skills. Because no matter where life takes you, the skills you build today will travel with you tomorrow. Now, every time I ask kids what they want to become, I usually hear the same three answers: doctor, lawyer, engineer. And trust me, those are fantastic careers. But here's something I hope you'll remember. The job title isn't the important part. The skills are. If you want to become a doctor, learning how to communicate matters. Learning time management matters. Learning leadership matters. Learning how to write clearly matters. If you want to become an engineer, guess what? Yeah, those same exact skills. If you want to own a business someday, yeah, same thing. Life has this funny way of rewarding people who never stop learning. So don't just chase one job. Collect skills, collect hobbies, learn photography, build something, learn how to draw, take apart, an old lawnmower, but ask permission first. Learn how to sew, learn how to code, learn how to cook. Every single thing you learn becomes another tool in your toolbox. And one day you'll be surprised which tool you'll end up needing. Now here's where I'd really love your help. Every week over at booksthatbuildskills.org, we're going to feature one amazing reader. We call them our featured reader. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, this might be one of my favorite things that we're doing. And here's how it works. Read one of the books. Take some pictures of yourself reading. Maybe you're reading with your mom, your dad, you're curled up on the sofa, you're outside on the swing. Tell us about your favorite scene in the books. Tell us what you learned. Upload everything through the featured reader form on the website. And if you post about it on Instagram or TikTok, your social media channel, send us that link too, and we'll celebrate that with you. If you're chosen, you'll spend an entire week featured on our website as one of our books that build skills spokesmodels. How cool is that? Yeah. But here's the part your parents are going to like. This isn't just fun, it becomes something you can point to later. It shows colleges, scholarship committees, volunteer organizations, future employers that you were reading, learning, sharing ideas, and building confidence. That's the kind of story that tells your story long before you ever walk into an interview. So, what do you want to become? Maybe you already know. Maybe you'll change your mind 5 times this year. Yeah, you know what? That's perfectly okay because this isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. It's about exploring and learning and trying and building skills and finding out about all these incredible opportunities waiting for you. Every single Sunday, we're going to meet somebody who is doing work that matters. We're going to hear how they got there. We're going to ask questions. And together, we're going to explore the possibilities. So before you go, yeah, don't go yet. Yeah, I've got 4 quick things I'd love for you to do. First, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on next Sunday's adventure. Next, head over to booksthatbuildskills.org and download the free career exploration worksheet and bring it with you every week. Jot down notes and start building your own career journal. And third, if you're ready for your next adventure, pick up your first Charms book. Every story is packed with life skills, career exploration, and hands on activities to keep the learning going long after the last page. And finally, I'd love to meet you. So apply to become one of our featured readers. I can't wait to see your photos, to hear your favorite moments from the books, and introduce you to our entire community. So thank you. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday evening with me. I am the Aunt Loxley in the book, and I'll see you next week right here on Careers IRL. Now, go explore something. You never know where it might take you. Have fun. See ya.